Hello and welcome to Retro Palettes Quartz tutorials. So one of the basic things I have done is built a viewer, just a basic viewer where you can view Quartz Composer files. You can load them, you can run them, and you can stop them. And this is just very basic. This is kind of showing you some of the things we can do. And I took in Quartz Composer, I built one with a Revolution logo, and let's just run that really fast for you. So this here is just running, a very basic type thing. Obviously, we're not in full screen here, and that's one other thing you can do with this. We can go full screen and really get into it. And right now, I'm just showing you some effects. But let's stop this one and let's load up one of the examples that came with the Apple Developer Tools. So this is one of the Quartz files that you could find within there. And like we said, we can run it. So it gives you sort of like a cover flow effect without really running cover flow. So this is one of the examples they showed you kind of as a teaser before you figured out where the heck the cover flow actual example was. And so basically all we can do here in this one example that I put up on screen is we can load a Quartz Composer file into a window or a rect, and we can run it and we can stop it. But you want to do more than that. I mean, Quartz is so much more than that. You want to use full user interactivity. So these ones that I'm playing here are just kind of like run-only compositions. And we want to do so much more with that, and you can. So this shows you some of the basic things you can do. And you can run a composition file in the background doing some kind of thing. Now, what would this actually be good for you? Well, who knows? You might actually be doing some multimedia type stuff, or this might be something that can be presented on screen, and it's more flexible than just using a QuickTime video or even using a movie file. You can bring a full Quartz composition into the file, and as you can see, we can bring this actual file, and this is the one we loaded. I'm going to do it real fast here for you. We can bring this right into Quartz Composer, where you can build these things. It's going to open up in a second here, and you get the same effect. So you can see the effect here on screen, and we're going to close that out for you for a second. And you can see right here is what's doing that. And right here, this is called a patch. Oops. This here is called a patch, and this is a patch. And I'll show you in some Quartz Composer tutorials how to build your own Quartz compositions to run in Runtime Revolution. And you can do so much more than what this one example shows you. You can do stuff with user interface, just building content within Quartz Composer. You can also access stuff that's in the framework. So anything that is in the framework of Mac OS X, whatever operating system you have, it has to be 10.4 or later. I recommend 10.5 or later because 10.5 really has some more capabilities, much more better capabilities of what you can do using the Quartz Core frameworks. And that's what we're accessing here. Now, we don't access all the frameworks through Revolution or all parts of the Quartz Core frameworks, but we access pretty much a good deal of them. So you can get effects like this and see how basic they are. This right here is a macro. A macro patch is square, and the regular patch files have these rounded corners. But I'm going to go very in-depth into some of the things you can do with Quartz Composer to set up into a Revolution project. Because we don't know. Every person that uses Revolution, some people develop different things. Some people are in the multimedia, some people are in full application development like myself. So you can use this for so many things. So this here is just a basic viewer. And we can go full screen using a whole bunch of different stuff. We're actually viewing all these files. Now this is in Quartz Composer. As you can see, it's the same file. I'm going to close this up really fast for you. And what we are viewing in this screen here is a full OpenGL render. It is rendering in OpenGL, and we are linking to OpenGL. We can actually link to OpenGL with this library, either through the Quartz Core or through, boy, I forget what it's called now. We can do it through command line. So there's multiple ways that we can actually link up to OpenGL. And with using Quartz Composer, we can program full OpenGL code to run games to really awesome special effects. But obviously, if you're ever programmed core image, you realize you're actually programming in OpenGL, an OpenGL shader. So you can get full OpenGL and OpenGL 3D in games running in Quartz. So Quartz is really driving this. Now the only thing is, this is only available to macOS 10.4 or later. And like I said, macOS 10.5 really screams on this library, because most of these commands are most part for 10.5, but they do work on 10.4, some of them. And the library does have some things for Windows users. We can actually run some Quartz compositions to other operating systems. What we can do with them is very limited. It's not like what we can do when we run in macOS 10. So I'm going to show you some more examples. This is very basic. I wanted to show you a very basic example starting off, and get into some more really advanced stuff. And like I said, we're going to go into a lot of core video. I think the core video stuff is really amazing, what we can do with Revolution. You'll be very amazed by what that can do. And then the core image, we can do some really advanced image editing effects that's really missing in Revolution out of the box. I mean, you can play around with some of the commands, and you can come up with similar type things. But we can do it very robust using a great framework called Quartz Core. We can access PDFs. We can access a lot of files. We can export and encode to full media files like video. I know you can do some of that with the QTE and enhanced QuickTime from Blue Mango. So you can combine both of these libraries and do some amazing things. You can output movies and encode movies with this, but not as much as you can with the Blue Mango plugin. So if you actually took both of them, and I have done some examples with both of them, it's pretty amazing. You can do some really high-end type stuff, very close to iMovie. If you want to get into the Final Cut Pro type applications, you can do it if you have the drive to go that far with it. So I'm going to show you some more examples as we go along. This was the very basic. I wanted to just start off with a basic example of playing some basic Quartz compositions, and now I'm going to show you some more stuff like core image, core video, some of the amazing stuff that you can do with it. And like I said, this is a work in progress, but it's pretty amazing that you can bring this stuff into Revolution, and you can bring a user experience to the next level. Thank you for seeing the first little demo of the